This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, penguin rescue volunteers at Moeraki are calling this year's yellow-eyed penguin breeding season a success. Top-rating national football coaches are in Dunedin to check out the local southern soccer scene. And the roar of hundreds of vintage engines is echoing around Southland and South Otago. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Holly Buchanan. Penguin rescue volunteers at Moeraki are calling this year's yellow-eyed penguin breeding season a success, following blood tests showing all the birds are clear of avian malaria. But the battle against the mosquito-borne disease isn't over yet, with workers remaining vigilant as the warm summer progresses.
Volunteers from Oamaru's Penguin Rescue releasing a yellow-eyed penguin back into the wild with a clean bill of health. Despite recent battles with undernourished chicks, this year's hatching season has been a success so far.
We have 53 chicks currently. We've got 11 that we've hand raised and the other 42 are in the field, and there's one we saw today we're a bit concerned about, but other than that they're all doing fine.
The warm summer now brings the threat of mosquitoes infecting the endangered birds with avian malaria. The disease killed 10 breeding females last summer. The neighbouring farm has sponsored the dropping of pesticide into its ponds, and a penguin refuge has been reclad to keep the mozzies out.
So we've mosquito-proofed all of our enclosures that we're going to use, and any temporary ones will have temporary mosquito proofing. And we're all learning as we go, but yes, our goal is to never have a bird held without mosquito protection.
Goldsworthy is taking blood samples for the University of Otago's DNA analysis program. She can also examine the blood under a microscope to see if a penguin needs to be given pills to fight off avian malaria.
So that if a bird is showing signs of malaria and demonstrating it through the slides, which we can test immediately, we can start treatment straight away.
With 53 chicks now almost fully grown, the sanctuary is well on track to top last year's success of 50 chicks surviving to fledgling age. In Oamaru, for The South Today.
Dunedin property owners are in for a 5% rates increase in the next financial year. The Dunedin City Council's annual plan for the 2019-2020 year is set to be discussed at a meeting on Tuesday. The rates increase is in line with predictions and lower than a more than 7% increase last year. The council last year agreed to a 10-year plan, including significant spending on the likes of a bridge connecting the city and the waterfront and multi-million-dollar upgrades of the central city and tertiary area. Mayor Dave Cull says the increase is the cost of a growing city. Dunedin's Tahuna Park may seem a long way from the World Cup, but the ground, and many like it around the country, is being used by the national coaches as a foundation point to reach football's biggest stage. All Whites coach Fritz Schmid and New Zealand under-20 men's coach Des Buckingham are in Dunedin this week as they look to immerse themselves in the setup of each local environment.
The next generation of southern footballers eager to impress two of the biggest names in New Zealand football at the moment. All Whites head coach Fritz Schmid and New Zealand men's under-20 coach Des Buckingham in Dunedin this week as part of a nationwide tour aiming to find out exactly what's going on in the regions.
If you want to establish like an identity of game and you want to know who you're dealing with, you need to see what's happening in the country and how coaches, how players go about their daily business.
Both coaches have had around a year in their respective roles, and they've spent the last few months travelling around the country's 7 football federations in an effort to see players and coaches in their own environments.
The one thing I think helps with what we're doing now is you bring national coaches to the area rather than bringing players into the national setup. So it just gives us a better idea of what's happening on the local level.
And while the coaches are looking to bolster their respective sides' international schedules, the aim is to try and give all football players around the country as much game time as possible.
if you look at the international leagues, you know, the professional players, they play up to 50, 60 games a year, and young players of this age group, they come up to 30, 40 games a year, so that's where you have to aim at.
His aim is to qualify the All Whites for next year's Tokyo Olympics and the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. For these young footballers, it's a brief chance to catch the eye of the national coaches. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Police are investigating a text message allegedly sent from the phone of Invercargill MP Sarah Dowie to her former colleague and ex-lover Jamie Lee Ross. The police investigation is said to be focusing on whether the text, which came after the breakup of their extramarital relationship, constituted an incitement to self-harm. That's punishable by up to 3 years in prison. Ross has previously named Dowie as one of the women with whom he had an extramarital relationship while he was National MP for Botany. The text message included the words, "You deserve to die." The roar of hundreds of vintage farm tractors, traction engines and vintage cars is echoing around Southland and South Otago. Various machines of all shapes and sizes are heading to the annual Crank Up Vintage Machinery Show in Edendale this weekend.
The hills are alive with the sound of old tractors. Stirling teacher aide Brendan Storer says the annual Crank Up is a family affair, and each year he travels to the event with his dad and brother. He says it can take a while as they try to stay off the highways.
Today, because we want to go down to an auction sale, it's only going to take us around 3.5, 4 hours, because we're going pretty much the main route to Edendale, and any other times it can take up to 10 hours, if not longer, if we take back roads, just anywhere to stay off the main roads.
Storer has loved working on and driving old tractors since his youth at Inchclutha. He says they don't travel in a convoy on the way to the event as it might annoy faster vehicles.
We try not to keep together, so we're just far enough apart where a vehicle doesn't have to pass like 5 or 6 tractors all in one go, so we're safe distance apart from each other, and the car can get out and pass one and sit in behind the next one or so. So we we do the speed of like about 30 plus K, or some of us are down to like about 28 Ks.
He's driving a recently restored 1974 Ford Country 754 tractor to Edendale. It's a passion he gets from his father Wayne, and says they've enjoyed coming to Crank Up for many years.
Since about 2004 or 9, I can't remember which one it was. I just looked back the other day to try and find out, but the last photos I have, or the earliest ones that I can find.
The 32nd annual Crank Up is held in Edendale this weekend and is one of the biggest gatherings of vintage machinery in the country, with hundreds of vehicles on show. At Edendale, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, an update on the site of the main building of the new Dunedin Hospital, and we check out a landmark in the small Canterbury town of Leeston.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Need to rent an EFTPOS? Whether it's just a week or the whole season, maybe a pop-up store, a concert or event. Anything's POS have equipment available to suit your needs for retail and hospitality with local support. To rent, lease or buy, contact Anything's POS.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
At the Hard to Find Bookshop, we sell quality books on all subjects from the rare to the recent, and where viable, we will come to you. We have a great reputation for integrity and honesty, so if you're downsizing or sorting an estate and have books to sell, contact us.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
I just like it. It's something that you can see the fruits of your own labour. You put it right now, you don't have as much to do at Christmas. You come see me, Derek, in the garden department, and then we get it done right.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Welcome back. It's been confirmed the former Cadbury chocolate factory will be the site of the main building of the new Dunedin Hospital. Geotechnical issues with the land had delayed the site master plan for the hospital after a survey caused uncertainty if the Cadbury site was suitable. But those issues have been resolved and the project could go ahead with its preferred design. Southern Partnership Group Chairman Pete Hodgson has released maps showing the likely layout of the new hospital complex. The small Canterbury town of Leeston was without a watering hole for 7 long, dry years. But that's all changed with the establishment of the Crate and Barrel Hotel. And the $2.5 million build was partly designed by the pub's manager, who's learned the ropes of the hotel industry growing up in Dunedin.
Leeston now has a publican originally from Dunedin, who's proud of his newly adopted town.
It's the people that make it. It's a great place, great people, fantastic locals. They're just proud of their, rugby team, any and everything that happens in Leeston. They're proud of their little town, and it's a wee town that's moving. It's got a brand new garage now and brand new pub, and there's a brand new eatery across the road. Yeah, it's a wee town it's going places.
Running a pub is in his blood, with both his grandfathers and his father having been publicans.
That was Dad that got me into pubs, first in Dunedin, and then Nelson, and now Christchurch. It's a good education being brought up in hotels, because you sort of learn quick things, and and it's the people that I enjoy. I'm a people's person. I've got to do some work.
Oh, I should have left those copies for you there.
I've made them.
There you go.
No. I do 7 days a week. I get up 6 o'clock every morning and do the tills and set up the place. But it's not. You're not lifting bricks. It's a lifestyle now. It's you put your heart and soul into it nowadays. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. And you've got to entertain people all the time. You've got to change things up all the time. If you don't, they're going to get bored. They're going to look for other things to do.
The $2.5 million sunk into the establishment has created a venue with multiple event rooms, including a sports-themed room.
So that's me Pride and Joy lamp, Richie's shorts. Me and Mark Tweedy and Jock Bayless, we went to the Moturoka Races auction. Me and Jock bid for the shorts, and in the end we got them. I won't tell you what we paid because we paid a fortune, but our theory is that the jersey he'll always look after, because that was the one he was presented with all his history. So the next best thing was his shorts, and so that's we've got them forever. It's me pride and joy. Half of the upstairs is music, so it sort of starts there with the drum kit hanging from the wall. So we've got 2 motorbikes hanging up here. We've got a brand new Indian motorbike above the windows. We've got a BSA motorbike, 1942, over the doorway. I've got a library, which is working well for the community, so you take a book home with you, and next time you come back you bring one back, so that works real well.
With the renovations now complete, he's ready to settle down and let his family help out in the day-to-day running of the pub.
Oh, I think this is me. I'm pretty happy here. I've got my family here. My son, he's one of the managers here, well, he is the manager here. I've got my daughter that works here, I've even got a granddaughter that works here, so, and my wife obviously, and so yeah, it's a family affair, and yeah, I think this is me. I'll sort of go out about this place, I think, so, and happily too. I really like this place, it's home.
In Canterbury, for the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, temperatures are forecast to climb in parts of Otago next week as a heat wave rolls over the southern region. And we check out an art gallery kicking off the new year with a group show exploring new media.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Every Kiwi deserves a reliable garage door. Rely on Garrador to protect your important stuff. Just like Darren. His Garrador keeps his favourite ride in mint condition. We have a huge range at affordable prices. Visit our website for a free consultation. We stand behind every door.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
It's always really satisfying when a customer comes back after doing a purchase of outdoor furniture and knowing that we've got it done right.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
Most of us have spots on our skin. That's quite normal. Finding skin cancer as early as possible is key to successful treatment. Book in for a free check of 1 to 2 moles or a comprehensive full body check with the Mole Doctor in Waverley.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Need to rent an FPOS? Whether it's just a week or the whole season, maybe a pop-up store, a concert or event, Anything's POS have equipment available to suit your needs for retail and hospitality with local support. To rent, lease or buy, contact Anything's POS.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Welcome back. Temperatures are forecast to reach 30 degrees or more for 6 consecutive days in central Otago next week as a heat wave rolls over the southern region. Met Service is forecasting the temperature in Alexandra is expected to top 30 between Sunday and Friday. Wanaka is also predicted to have at least 4 30-plus days. Other parts of Otago and Southland are forecast to be in the mid-20s throughout the week. A Dunedin Art Gallery is kicking off the new year with a group show which explores new media. Amongst the artists' experimentation are neon lights and paint pushed through gaps of woven canvas. The South Today went for a look.
Being turned on by art at Dunedin's Milford Gallery. Art consultant Vanessa Eve Jones lights up one of several neon creations by Robert Yanker.
It was a mixed media piece, but it's very intriguing because when you look at it, you can. It looks like an infinity room. You just keep looking into the distance.
The group exhibition also includes brand new works by Dunedin painter Jenna Packer. Her pieces suggesting an alternative universe with Otago's early settlers hard at work recreating ornate old world gardens.
Jenna has this wonderful conversation about the now, but using traditional techniques, and her works have an old worldly feel about them, so they're almost like a parallel universe, or they have stories, intricate stories woven through them.
Meanwhile, Israel Birch has ground spiral patterns into a stainless steel backing and covered the work with a blue pigmented lacquer, creating swirling patterns as the viewers walk past.
What happens with these works is that when you look at them long enough, you start getting a push and play of space, and the background almost seems like it's moving where the front is coming forward.
Looking like woven textiles, Piata Larkin's works use the weave in the canvas to create a grid for the colours to be pushed through.
Piata's always used the canvas in quite a sculptural way, so it's almost like weaving with paint. And if you look closely at these works, you can see that she's left areas of the canvas without paint, and other areas she's pushed it through, and other areas she's filled the gaps within the canvas. So it's a wonderful, almost weaving process, and you can see this beautiful pattern making that she's achieved.
The Show and Tell exhibition runs at Dunedin's Milford Gallery until mid-February. In Dunedin for the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Penguin rescue volunteers at Moeraki are calling this year's yellow-eyed penguin breeding season a success, following blood tests showing all birds are clear of avian malaria. Dunedin's Tahuna Park may seem a long way from the World Cup, but the ground is being used by national coaches as a foundation point to reach football's biggest stage. And the roar of hundreds of vintage farm tractors, traction engines and vintage cars is echoing around Southland and South Otago. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Barry.
Hello, Holly. Development plans have been released for the new Dunedin Hospital, so
Yes.
we have a site layout and details of what goes where. So
Okay.
some interesting detail coming out of that. So that'll be in your paper tomorrow. The Mayor of Dunedin, Dave Cole, says creating bylaws to make it safer for e-scooter users and pedestrians is on the cards. So there's discussion about that. The future of Telford, we've caught up with what's happening there. They're in limbo, really, and particularly students who are looking at getting student loans, etc. So they're caught between the two. So it is now in the government's hands, so it's a kind of a wait-and-see situation there.
Right.
So, but we talked to a couple of students to see how they're approaching that situation. And I don't know if it's a favourite of yours, but the Asian restaurant in Dunedin, a reasonably popular one, I believe,
Yes.
is on the market after 29 years. So that's a fair period. We have some great sports stuff, plenty of stuff happening over the weekend. Of course, Australian Opens and cricket matches, of course, so we have previews of those. Also, the weekend mix is back in full strength, so lots of good stories there.
Fantastic. All that and more in tomorrow's ODT. Thank you, Barry. And time now for a look at tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by MoleMap.
Starting with today's southern view of the mighty Balclutha Bridge. Looking at the situation, a front approaches southern districts tomorrow, bringing rain to the west and south with increasing mild northerly winds. Warm air remains on Sunday and Monday with some sunny periods developing. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport can expect cloudy skies and highs of 19 degrees. Across to the northeast, Nelson and Blenheim are expecting grey skies with a balmy 27 degrees. Plan for a cloudy day in Canterbury with 24 degrees for Kaikoura, 23 in Christchurch and 26 for Ashburton. And in southern centres, strong northwesterlies with rain later are the order of the day. The Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore are all expecting 18-degree highs. Strong northwesterlies and cloudy skies are due in central Otago, where it should be 19 in Wanaka and Queenstown, 20 in Alexandra, while Te Anau has strong northwesterlies and rain with 17 degrees. Looking at the northern towns, Timaru and Oamaru are in for freshening northwesterlies. High cloud increasing, a high of 25 for Timaru and 23 for Oamaru. Further inland, Omarama and Twizel are due to have strong northwesterlies with clouds and 19 degrees. In Dunedin, cloudy tonight with northerly winds and an overnight low of 13. Rain tomorrow morning, clearing early afternoon but remaining mostly cloudy with fresh breezy northeasterlies, a high of 19. And sunny periods and some cloud are due on Sunday in time for the Brighton Gala Day. Warm temperatures and moderate northerly winds developing, looking at a high of 23 degrees. And in Invercargill, cloudy tonight with fresh northwesterlies and an overnight low of 11. Strong northwesterly winds tomorrow with rain developing during the morning, a high of 19. Showers clearing and fresh gusty westerly winds decreasing on Sunday, and again a predicted top temperature of 19 degrees. And that wraps up the South Today for this week. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz, channel 39.co.nz, or follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We leave you tonight with some images from the week that was in news across the South. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Good night.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.